Support for this episode comes from Embark. At Embark, interfaith couples in their 20s and 30s explore Judaism together without pressure to convert. No expectations, no right answers, just empowering couples to build a life that's right for them. Each cohort is 6 rabbi-led sessions and a weekend retreat, exploring topics like designing your own rituals, belonging, and more, alongside other couples asking the same questions. Head to memglobal.com/embark to find upcoming cohorts near you, including a virtual cohort beginning July 13th.
What if we treated each Shabbat prayer not as something to check off, but as a world to explore? Welcome to Shabbat Unbound, where over 8 episodes we're doing exactly that, one prayer at a time, with melody, meaning, and a little magic. I'm Miriam Turlinchamp, and together with Lex Rofberg, we will invite Shabbat in by focusing on Psalm 96, Shiru Ladonai. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you're already a regular listener, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
So in many communities, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, which means sing to God a new song, is sung every week, but it's not a new song. It's the same melody every time. And that always struck me as funny. So when we launched this series, Shabbat Unbound, we wanted to make sure that our Shiru Ladonai melody would be one that felt new to most of our listeners. And so that meant I needed to find one that would be unlikely to have been used in many synagogues. So I went on a Google deep dive and found a beautiful melody from Jake Ehrlich from Congregation Techia in Detroit. And he's a friend of Judaism Unbound, and I loved the melody. And so we decided to use this one for our Shiru Ladonai. You will note that when I sing the words, I sometimes say Havaya instead of Adonai. Havaya is another name for God, and it gets at God as breath. It gets at God's 4-letter name, but the letters are scrambled. And mystics believe that the power of God's name can come through no matter if the letters are in Yud He Vav He order or in a different order. Adonai means my Lord. Sometimes we need metaphors of God that are not just Lord, but perhaps of breath. And so I bring that Havaya notion of God in this melody. So here is Jake Ehrlich's Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Lavaya. Shiru Lavaya, Shir Chadash, Shiru Lavaya Kol Haaretz. Shiru Lavaya, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Le'yom Yeshuato. Sabru V'Goyim Kevodo, V'chol Ha'amim Niflotav. Ki gadol havaya hulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim. Ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, b'havaya shamayim asa. Od hadar lefanav, Oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Habu lavaya mishpechot amim, Habu lavaya kevod ba'oz, Habu lavaya kevod shemot u'mipah u'bo lechatrotav. Takavu Ladonai, Hadrat Kodesh, Filu mipanav kol haaretz. Imru v'goyim, Havaya malach, Avtikon tevel baltimot. Yadid amim me'shavim, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירם הים ומלוא יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו. אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני הוויה כי בא לשפוט הארץ. ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו. היי 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 שיר חדש, שירו להוויה כל הארץ.
Before we get into Shir Ladonai, Psalm 96, I want to do a little bit of background on the Psalms. So the Jews did not invent the literary style of the Psalms. We borrowed it and made it our own. There's a sprinkle of Canaanite hymns, there's some Mesopotamian cultural references, and Ugaritic poetry. It then gets integrated into religious life probably around the temple times. A.Z. Idelson, who is a scholar of liturgy, says that the priests were offering sacrifices and also saying psalms at the same time. There are lots and lots of stories of how we use the psalms in our Jewish tradition. We recite them as an incantation when you know a demon is present. The words are like a protective spell. Reb Nachman said that there were 10 psalms we could say in a row that would protect us and clear our minds of impure thoughts. In the 15th and 16th century, there was a belief that if you were going to engage in partner swapping, if you recited the psalms at the same time, it was not considered licentious behavior. The hope was we were reincarnating Shabbatai Tzvi, a messianic figure at the time. Kabbalists, the mystics, included psalms in their amulets and talisman. Their words were considered protective. Psalms were rarely studied. Psalms were used to invoke power. In the Psalms, there's no singular voice. There are many voices, and the content is really varied. It goes from praise to petition to supplication to grief. The directionality is also different. Sometimes it's us to God. Sometimes it's God to humans. There's a whole play of voices and ways of engaging. The Psalms are poetic expressions of a national mythology, telling our story and retelling it through the lens of the concerns of that particular moment. Some teach ideas, others values, and a historicity that is both particular to the moment that it was transcribed, as well as universal and relevant to our lives right now. Traditionally, there are 6 psalms that we recite transitioning into Shabbat. There's 1 psalm for each day of the week that leads to the 7th day, Shabbat, the Sabbath. Shir Ladonai, Psalm 96, is the second of the series of psalms used, and it represents Monday. Monday. It's amazing how Shir Ladonai weaves the ordinary Monday kind of vibe energy with sacred theology, thereby uplifting the ordinary into the extraordinary. It goes from Monday to Monday. The psalm starts with the line, Shir Ladonai, Shir Chadash, sing to God a new song. That's so interesting because this is the part of the book of Psalms all about enthroning God, God's ascension to power, omnipotence, omniscience. So how could anything be new to an all-knowing, everywhere at all times kind of being? Well, that's where we get the second line. Shir Ladonai kol haaretz, sing to God all the earth. What a gorgeous idea. That what would surprise God the most, what would actually feel new to the divine, is the whole world singing as one. Want to really impress God? Then we should actually believe that all this God stuff is actually us stuff. B'Tselem Elohim. We're part of it all. And then to act like it. Every being, every life force as holy. And then the third line, another call. Shir Ladonai Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Leom Yeshuato. Sing to God, bless their name, and sing it out, salvation every day. Salvation's a heavy word, but maybe one way to read this is that by seeing Monday, the mundane, with new eyes, allows us to wake to the miracle of the everyday, an exercise in trying our best to see the old renewed. When you lean into the Mondays with your beginner's eyes, the whole earth does feel like it flows through you. That's what it means to have Sabbath. Suspending the false reality of consumerism and the pressure of more is more, and instead delighting in the other reality, the other truth of abundance. To make holy, simple pleasures like naps and slow meals and board games and singing. These psalms play an integral part in shaping the evening Sabbath service, one that focuses on transition or the movement into Sabbath. In the mystical text, the Zohar, we read that during the week, strict judgment rules and all judgments are aroused. But on Shabbat, all judgments are suppressed and pleasure and joy abound. A holy breath of delight spreads through all those who observe the Sabbath. Which, yes, please, I'll take some breath and delight in suppression of judgments. It's just my damn spinning mind and the to-do list and the laundry that's all in the way of that suspension of things. Some days, the very prospect of Sabbath can let us release and enter into a mind frame of a holy breath of delight, like the Zohar explains. But more often, transitioning into Sabbath mode requires work to release the work, finding ways to ease our way into the Sabbath consciousness when our hearts and minds are preoccupied. That's the job of Shir Ladonai, Psalm 96. Shiru, as a call to action. Sing, sing! And that a call to sing sounds different depending on where you are in your journey to Sabbath mode. I'm going to ask Lex to help me with this one for a little bit. So, when we are joyfully running into Shabbat, we might sing,
Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz.
Or, if it has been a painful week, in solace we might sing,
Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz.
The U in Shiru is declarative and plural. So when we are in need of community, of belonging, of companionship, we might sing,
Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz.
The transition between the everyday and the joy of Shabbat is called in with Psalm 96, allowing us an opportunity to look at our lives and see them anew, and maybe even surprising God.
Shiru Lavaya, Shir Chadash, Shiru Lavaya, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Lavaya, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Leom Yeshuato. Sabru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav. Ki gadol havayahum hulal meod, norahu al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, b'havaya shamayim asa. Hod hadar lefanav, Oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Havu lavaya mishpechot amim, Havu Shachavu l'Adonai Hadrat Kodesh Chilu mipanav kol haaretz Imru v'goyim Havaya malach Avtikon tevel bal timot Yadin amim v'meisharim Yismechu hashamayim b'tzagel haaretz Yiram hayam umelo Ya'alo sadai b'chol asher bo Az yiranenu Kol atzei ya'ar Lifnei havaya Kiva lishpot haaretz Yishpot tevel B'tzedek Ve'amim be'emunato Hay 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 Shir Chadash, Shiru Lavaya Kol Haaretz.
We pause now for a moment of healing, understanding that so many things in our world are beyond our control. And I know it's very important to match that feeling of lack of control with intentional action, of bringing soup and writing cards and making phone calls. Most importantly, presence, to be present with others in their needs and time for healing. And it's also important to spend time in the feels of it all, to call healing in specifically to our wounds, to open ourselves up to the difficulty of how long and circuitous healing can be, for all of us struggling in all the ways that we need healing. So let's send some prayerful and powerful energy to the places of physical pain, to ongoing ailments, to those of us wrestling with new information that changes our lives, to those of us waiting to hear about a diagnosis, for those of us deep in the throes of loss and grief, for those of us feeling the great weight of the world on our spirits. May all of us be brought closer to healing.
הרופא לשבורי לב ומחבש לעצבותם עונה מספר לכוכבים לכולם שמות שקרא Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are.
Today we're concluding our episode with an offering of the oldest prayer in the Jewish tradition. It's the priestly benediction, which we see first in Numbers 6 in our biblical text. And it is the oldest version of any prayer we've ever had. When you go to the oldest fragments of that biblical text, this still exists. At one point, it was used to bless or call in priests, but it's really a prayer that can be said by anyone to anyone. One of the body motions of this prayer is for the person who is doing the blessing to raise their hands up above and to spread their fingers wide so that they form the shape of a shin, the letter that begins the word Shema, of hearing, of listening, and to extend them outward. So I'm extending them out to you. Maybe you can also reach your hands out in this moment. Your hands open symbolically, like your heart, to receive blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav alecha v'chunecha. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav alecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And when you feel that light upon you, may you find the courage to sing, to meet the moment, to transition into possibility, and to know that through this whole journey of becoming, you are not alone. And that's Shiru Ladonai, a call to sing. Whether you're arriving joyfully or dragging yourself into Shabbat mode with everything you've got. Thank you for easing into sacred time with us today, for remembering that the transition itself is holy, and that our mundane Monday vibes can feel renewed with beginner's eyes. Next episode, we're diving into Ana B'Koach, a mystical prayer about power, release, and what it really means to let go. Until then, may your week hold moments of surprise that even God didn't see coming. Shabbat Shalom. Big thanks to Lip and Camphor Foundation for Living Torah for making this Shabbat Unbound podcast possible. Shabbat Unbound is a production of the Institute for the Next Jewish Future and part of the family of podcasts of Judaism Unbound. Created by Miriam Turlinship and Lex Rofberg, directed by Joey Taylor, produced at Monastery Studios, sound engineering by Justin Newton, original podcast theme music and arrangements by Rich Hordinsky, and art by Katie Kasner. Special thanks to our musicians, Rich Hordinsky on guitar, Andrea Summer on vocals, Matt Wiles on bass, and Josh Camp on drums. Special thanks to our featured composer of Shiru Ladonai, Jake Ehrlich. Check the show notes for bonus material. Lex did so many amazing things on our website, and if you want to dig more into it, it's there for you. And if you love our podcast, wonderful, there is more. Please join us for a monthly live Shabbat Unbound events. You can find the next one on our website at www.judaismunbound.com/ShabbatUnbound. We'd love to hear from you also, and you can find us at hello@judaismunbound.com.